Uh, you guys asked for it, so there you go. Other one's harder. Where's my phone? I know you're probably disappointed that it's not all like linked together, but sometimes you got to learn the hard, cold truth about the world. And that's the fact that they're not linked together at all, and that I have to go change them manually. That is what you were looking for. Now it's green. Now there's that little bit of green on my face that I can never seem to get rid of, no matter how hard I work on lighting. Yeah, it makes me kind of violent. I feel like I want to start throwing some shoves around, which would make me fit in wonderfully with the South Korean national team. Now, I have never been a professional player, but I've also never really, and I would count myself as probably fortunate in this category, been in a position more than once or twice in my life where I've really ever wanted to shove somebody with the force required in order to actually injure them. Have I accidentally injured somebody? Yeah, I had a little brother. He may or may not have fallen off the treehouse. I may or may not have been responsible. But that is not what happened to the South Korean national team, because the media darling that is Son Heung-min dislocated his finger the day before the Asian Cup semifinal, which, if you are an incredible history buff for things that happened within the last week and a half, they lost that semifinal. They lost to Jordan. I don't think that Son's dislocated finger had much to do with it, considering South Korea didn't have a single shot on target in that game. But South Korea losing to Jordan continued an incredibly surprising record, which I actually already made a video about on this channel, where they have not won an Asian Cup since 1960. And I said, you can't take the man out of Tottenham. You can't take the Tottenham out of the man, right? We're dealing with Son. Maybe I was a little too hard on him, because it sounds like that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes. And by stuff, I mean like a just unbelievable mountain of lava and magma, both of them, because I can't really tell the difference. And it was just bubbling up and then eventually exploded in a shoving match that has led me down the rabbit hole of exploring Korean culture, which is a weird thing to be doing at 1 a.m, but for science. And I've learned a lot, so allow me to share with you. First of all, this all happened at a dinner. Now, teams at these tournaments, you're staying in the same hotel. I'm assuming you're eating together. And the day before the semifinal of the Asian Cup, they're all having dinner, right? And Son Heung-min is sitting, eating dinner, bonding. Like, we're having fun. Yeah, that sort of bonding. That's what I'm envisioning. Forcing everybody to bond. Like when I'm playing Football Manager and I do team bonding training, this is what I imagine. And apparently the younger segment of the South Korean team had enough of this forced team bonding, and they were done eating. And so they wanted to go play games. They wanted to go play ping pong, table tennis in this particular situation. And they stand up to go do that. Son Heung-min then takes issue with that and decides to go start a freaking party. And somebody shoves somebody. Every report I've read, nobody's exactly clear on what happens. It was not just Son Heung-min, and who has been dubbed the leader of this younger group of players, a guy named Lee Kong-in, who plays for PSG. And they're the leaders, and they're the generals of this battle. Look, dude. Hey, Kim. Hey, whoa. Battle in Korea. Sorry. This one doesn't involve you. I can make that joke because I don't really care what goes on this channel, but you guys seem to enjoy it, and I enjoy making these and figuring out how to change the color of my lights. But Lee Kong-in and Son Heung-min are duking it out. Some other players get involved. Some people get thrown around. Allegedly, Lee Kong-in throws a fist towards Son's face, which, look, I have never in my life wanted to do that. And the fact that you can work yourself up to the point where you feel the need to do that, allegedly, right? At the very least, something happened. Force was applied to Son Heung-min in some way. There were force. I'm sure he wasn't the only one. There was some pushing and shoving. There was some jostling. There was some, somebody gets out their phone. But I've never even gotten to that. To get to that point, because somebody has told you to not go play ping pong. Like, dude, how bad do you want to play ping pong? Is it really that important? Can you just hang out for a little bit and then play ping pong later? Like, the ping pong's not going anywhere. It's not like a Mr. Beast video and there's a 10-minute timer and then all of a sudden the ping pong table is going to freaking explode if you don't go play. Right? You can just wait a little bit. You got to really love table tennis And I know they love it in China, dude. I didn't know that South Korea was like that, but apparently, like, reading articles about it, there is like a quote where Lee Kong-in's like, oh yeah, dude, I freaking, like, we love to play table tennis to pond. And I'm like, dude, so do I, right? And for the record, Adler, who works as a producer and director and videographer and editor for a lot of the stuff that we do, also plays ping pong, except I smoke him every time. And I just wanted on the public record, I beat him like 7 of the last 8 times I played him. I'm unstoppable with the balls. I am the king of the pelotas. I am the movie Balls of Fury was made about me. It was. And so if anybody in the South Korean team wants the smoke on the tables, I'm happy to provide. I'm dealing all week, twice on Sunday. So I guess I kind of get it. Now, after I said that sentence, I'm like, dude, sometimes I really want to get on the paddles. And they decided to fight over that. But this is not the only notable thing from this story. One, Jurgen Klinsmann just got fired. That happened today, but with the time zones, who freaking knows what day it actually happened? Happened like 18 hours ago from when I'm talking about it. And Jurgen Klinsmann got sacked. So he was the coach of South Korea. He got fired because of this. And, you know, they lost to Jordan, who's like 327th in the world rankings. Hope they make the World Cup, by the way, because they got to the final of the Asian Cup. But that would be neat. It's also totally not the point of the story, because the point of the story is, I don't know what the point of the story is. Oh, yeah. What the hell? What you professional players, dude. You got in a fight because somebody wanted to go play. Like, if your son, right, are you really going to escalate this to the point that you're going to get into a fracas about them wanting to go play ping pong? Now, or if you're Lee Kong-in and the young guns of South Korea, are you really going to look at the captain of your country, the guy that is worshipped in South Korea, and go, no, I'm going to hit you? Because when I remember I talking about all this, that he got hit really hard. He dislocated his finger. If you remember that from the beginning, he dislocated his finger. Something happened. He got hit pretty hard. Maybe he had a really awkward fall. Maybe he just tripped out of kindness. That seems very unlikely at this point. But what this actually sounds like, as much as I've made fun of it being over ping pong, this sounds like bickering couples. And I have this at least with roommates, bickering roommates, where the smallest thing will set off a giant argument. That's what this sounds like to me. Because I don't think it was really about the ping pong at all. I think somebody wasn't washing the dishes and taking out the trash for months. Somebody forgot about their anniversary. And then ping pong was just kind of where it blew up. That would sound right. Apparently, upon my further investigation, Jurgen Klinsmann was running these guys ragged. He was surprised by the lack of cohesion in the team. There's a lot of different cliques in the South Korean national team, which I find hilarious, because everybody that just like doesn't know what they're talking about always projects onto the East Asian teams in particular, like, oh, they're just well-oiled machines and they just great team cohesion and they're all working together for the common good, and like, gee, oh, if they were, if only they were taller. Like, okay, thank you, 1940s radio man. But seriously, they're just like every other professional athlete, massive egos. Fair enough. I've got a huge ego too. It grows your forehead, apparently. Shout out to Harry Kane and Peyton Manning. I see right through you. Also hadn't worked a forehead joke into this video yet. That's kind of my thing. So I needed to get that in there. But they have, the same as any other national team, they've got the cliques, right? They have their cliques. They've got everybody sectioned off. And that had been happening the entire tournament. And somehow they'd managed to absolutely house their way to the final, even though they'd only won one match. Sorry, the semifinal, even though they'd only won one match in regulation up to that point. They needed extra time. They needed penalties. They drew like Malaysia in the final group stage match. They were playing like a pile of dog. Oh, it's that channel. It's this channel. They were playing like a pile of dog shit, right? They couldn't do anything. They made it to the semifinal anyways. And then the whole bubbling couples argument happened to hit the surface. Jurgen Klinsmann's been fired. Everybody still loves Son, including Ange, by the way. Ange actually spoke about this, mate. He's the manager of Tottenham, where Son plays his club ball, and he said, I don't know all the details. Neither do I, dude, and I've been trying to find it out for a long time. But what I know of the story is that Sonny is showing leadership. That's what leadership's about. Leadership is not about being popular and trying to make everybody happy. It's about when you see something that you don't feel is right, and then you stand up for it because it's the right thing for the group. I see that in Sonny. Now, this is what he's supposed to be saying. It's true because Fabrizio Romano tweeted that. So it has to be true. but he obviously Son plays for him, and Lee Kong-in doesn't. Now, this is all fallen on Lee Kong-in because, like I said, Son has been worshipped in South Korea. He's their best player. Lee Kong-in has had to apologize because it's still a big thing, and this goes back to me learning South Korean culture because I was like, oh, a lot of individualism going on here, smashing those stereotypes from the 1940 radio men. But there's still that respect your elders thing going on pretty hard. So all of this fell on Lee Kong-in, which is probably not fair because Son was also clearly involved in it, even if he was being the leader as the captain. And Lee Kong-in had to apologize essentially for not respecting his elders and has said that he will try to do better in the future. Maybe just play ping pong when the rest of the team's not eating dinner, and then it'll be fine. Or don't do any of the other stuff. Or hear me out. Go on the Oprah show and talk it out. Just Dr. Phil, maybe. One of those. Just get on there. Really air it out. Let it breathe. But I think we can agree the Jurgen Klinsmann experiment was failed, and South Korea is never going to win an Asian Cup. If they do, I'll be really excited for them now. I'm not a hater, just an observer. From very far away. All right, see ya. Green. I listen. I read. I react. Great agility. Hold on, May. I'm not done because there's one other thing I wanted to point out. When this story came out, because somebody totally leaked this to try and get Jurgen fired, they were hating on my boy bad because you can see in the match, he has his fingers taped up. Gadget's going to show you the picture. He's got his fingers taped up like this, playing the semifinal. Now, if they'd won, it would have been one of those like, great competitive team sportsmanship, rah, they were getting each other fired up, and that galvanized them to victory. But because they lost, then somebody just leaked this, and they were like, get Jurgen out of here. This is a brutal 11 months for that dude in South Korea because somebody absolutely weaponized this information. And it might not be as bad as they're making it sound because we don't have all the information. That seems to be very tightly kept. Like even the South Korean FA was like, yeah, there was an altercation. Like I'm pretty sure they shoved each other once and Son Heung-min then slipped on a banana peel like a freaking Looney Tunes commercial and then just dislocated his finger from that. Nothing might have happened, but they absolutely weaponized this to get Jurgen Klinsmann fired, which, well, I mean, fair play. And Jurgen, you're probably getting a paid vacation. I don't know how that works, but enjoy it. I'll see you in Cancun. Just kidding. I won't because I never go outside. All right. Now, bye. Really.